and welcome. Tonight we're going to start lying down. I feel like we haven't done that in a while. I feel like we've been sitting up a lot lately to start. So let's lie down. Come onto your back and bend your knees. And we'll bring the feet to the outer edges of your mat and then let your knees knock in towards each other. Now that's just a general guideline, right? So if you bring your knees together and your feet are that wide and that doesn't feel comfortable for you, play around. So maybe the feet need to come a little bit closer together for the knees to comfortably sit together. Or maybe the feet stay wide and the knees don't touch, but that's perfectly comfortable for you. Whatever feels the best, that's where you're gonna go. And I really do want you to adjust, modify, do whatever you need to do to become more comfortable. You could also move your feet a little bit further away from your bum. You could also bring them in a little bit closer. So wherever you go, if you think, I'm not sure, then sometimes the smallest little adjustment will make all the difference. So just take a moment there, play around, so that you can settle, so that you can become more comfortable and more at ease in your space. And then arm options. So arm options can be down by your sides. You can turn your palms to face up or down. You could bring your hands to rest on your body. You could take your arms into a T shape. You could take your arms overhead, bending your elbows, kind of like goalposts, except less dramatic. So the elbows are soft and the shoulders are relaxed. So any of those options is great. Whatever you find to be the most comfortable, that's where you should be going. Close your eyes. Let the back of your head settle back into your mat. So sometimes what I'll see happening is the chin jutting away, jutting kind of up, and as we roll onto more of the top of the back of the head. And sometimes we do the opposite. We take the chin down towards the chest, and we kind of wind up on the nape, or is it called the nape of the skull? That's the nape of the neck, but the kind of the lower part of the back of the head. And we kind of want to find that central part so that the back of the neck feels long, but at ease. So there's no tension. And close your mouth if you can and breathe through your nose. And begin to take in all of the sounds that you can hear. And listen closely. And make a mental note that these sounds, everything that you can hear right now, no matter how big, no matter how small, is part of your space. These sounds belong in this moment, so let them in. And begin to pay attention to your breath now. And the breath moving through the nose as you breathe in and out. Notice the belly, the chest, the rib cage. Expand and grow as you breathe in. And notice how you breathe out. You draw back in towards your midline, to your center. Breathing in expansion. Breathing out to center. Now listen to the sound of your breath amongst all of the other sounds that you can hear. But listen a little bit more closely this time to the sound of your breath. Now separate your knees slowly. Keep your eyes closed if you can. Keep breathing that slow breath. And bring the soles of your feet together as your knees knock out wide for Supta Baddha Konasana. Allowing the knees and the thighs to become heavy as they fall outwards. And let your physical body ease into these new sensations. And then visualize that space where the back of your head is resting on your mat. Just kind of visualize that in your mind's eye. And then lift your head gently and take your right ear onto that space. And see how that feels, turning your head to the right. And if that's too much, if that feels intense and you need to modify that, then obviously do that. Move the head around so that becomes more comfortable. And keep the shoulders relaxed, the arms relaxed, the legs heavy. And then bring your head back to center so you're resting back on the back of the head. And then again, visualize that space where the back of the head is resting. Gently lift the head, turn the head to the left and put the left ear down right about where you think that the back of the head was resting. Again, if you need to adjust that, move the head around to do that. And then bring the head back to center. Coming back to the back of the head. Now bring your knees back up and bring the bottoms of your feet back to the mat. Bring your feet about hips distance apart there. Take your hips all the way over to the left edge of your mat. So pick up your bum, slide it over to the left, and then drop your knees over to the right to twist. Now as your knees come to the right, we're going to bring the knees together. So the left thigh is stacking over the right. And then try to keep the back of the left shoulder on your mat, or if it's come up to get you into the twist, that's fine. Just gently roll the back of the left shoulder so that that left shoulder blade touches down, if possible. And you might find that that means that the left thigh lifts up a little bit, and that's okay. Take your right hand and bring it on top of your left thigh, rest it there. And if the neck stretch felt good when you turned your head to the left, go back to the left. So lift the head up a little and then bring the left ear to the mat, turning your head to the left. If that doesn't feel so good, you're just looking straight up. Keep your head how it was. And then let's come back to center. So bring your head back to center and bring your feet back to center. So we come back, bring your hips all the way back to center as well. Feet again about hips distance apart. And then take your hips over to the right edge of your mat and knock your knees over to the left, bringing that right thigh to stack over the left. Then bringing the back of the right shoulder back to the mat. And again, if you wanted to lift the head and turn to the right, you can do that here. Otherwise, skip that. Okay, now to come out of this, we're going to come all the way over onto the left side. So you're going to roll onto your left side now. Allow your eyes to open as you push your way up to come to sit. And then let's bring the knees around back behind and come into a tabletop, hands and knees. Hands under the shoulders, knees under the hips. Tuck the toes under here, straight arms. Turn your inner elbow creases forward and roll your shoulders back. Dip the belly down and lift the bum up so it feels a little bit sassy there. Feel your upper arms here moving back in space as your chest starts to pull forward in front of your upper arms. So it's like you're trying to bring your shoulders and your upper arms behind your chest, and your chest is coming forward, okay? Maybe a little glance up, but don't stress the neck there. We're not trying to tip the head back at all. Stay nice and long through the back of the neck. Tuck the toes under here so you get a little stretch in the feet. Now point your toes, press down through the tops of the feet, and start to push down into your mat. And we're going to switch the direction of the pelvis. So now we're going to round through the back body. So now you're arching through your back like a black cat on Halloween. Bring your chin to your chest, push down, and hug your navel up into your body. Now, hug your navel up into your body so much like you're trying to create space underneath your body. Like there's going to be a big dog or a child, a small child, trying to crawl under you, and they can't touch you, or you lose a point, or they lose a point. So push down to lift up to create more space. Chin to the chest. Feel the shoulder blades lift up towards the sky, and then inhale, dip the belly down, pull the chest forward, take the upper arms back, lift the bum, tuck the toes. And then exhale, round, push down, and then hug up again. Create that space. And then again, inhale, dip the belly down, pull the upper arms, the shoulders back, chest forward. And then exhale, round, push away, create space. And one more time. Inhale, tucking the toes, pulling the chest forward, dipping the belly down. And then exhale, rounding, pushing away, hugging the navel up, creating space, and then come back to a neutral spine. Let's come down onto the forearms now, and when you come onto your forearms, we'll interlace the hands here, and bring your elbows right under your shoulders, and you'll know that the elbows are under the shoulders, one, by looking, because you'll see that your elbows are under your shoulders, but also what's going to want to happen when we start to put some weight into the elbows is that the elbows are going to start to splay out, and they're going to get wider than your shoulders. So we're going to keep those elbows hugging in, so wrapping in towards each other. Now start to slide your knees back, so we'll come into Sphinx pose. And we'll point the toes here, so press down into the tops of the feet, and you can take your feet a little bit wider here, or you can bring your feet about hips distance apart. It's up to you. I find there's less pressure in the low back if you take the feet a little bit wider, so see how that feels. And then press down to your elbows, and again, take the shoulders back and pull the chest forward as if you're trying to get the center of your chest in front of your shoulders. So shoulders pulled back, pressing down through the tops of the feet, pressing down through the forearms, and then press down through the front of your hips. So you want to press down so that we create length in the low back rather than compression. If we relax and we dip down in the belly, we're gonna feel that compression in the low back. So we're pressing down, we're staying active, hugging the navel up into the body in our Sphinx. Now take a deep breath in here. And then as you exhale, let's look out over the left shoulder. So don't change anything else about this posture other than your head turning back to the left. And don't stress, don't be aggressive here, just a gentle turn out over that left shoulder. Noticing where the sensation is. And if the sensation is good, or if you need to back off a little bit because that sensation might cause some tension. Then inhale, come back to center, and as you exhale, look out over the right shoulder. Again, keep pulling the chest forward, shoulders back, pressing down through the feet, through the hips. And then come all the way back to center, and let's come all the way down onto the stomach. Take your hands, let's go wider than the mat. So your hands are about in line with your shoulders, wider than the mat. The fingers are facing forward, elbows are up. And now let's take the feet a little bit wider. So feet as wide as the mat, pressing down into the tops of the feet. Now start here by bringing your forehead down so the back of the neck is nice and long. Keep your forehead down and lift your shoulders up. Right, take the shoulders up. And then start to lift the head. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. Press into your hands and start to lift up into a wide-armed cobra. Now, shoulders back, chest pulling forward, hips pressing down, tops of the feet pressing down, navel drawing up. And you can stay low here or you can come a little higher. Just go with how your back feels right now. And then lower. Let's do that again. So forehead comes down, back of the neck is nice and long. We're going to keep that length. Inhale, squeeze the shoulders up and in towards each other. And then start to lift up into this wide cobra variation. And then lower, exhale. And let's do that again. Pressing down through the front body. Squeezing the shoulder blades together, lift up. And then exhale, lower. All the way down. Now, slide your left hand all the way out to the left. So your left arm is extended out to the left, palm facing down. Use your right hand under your right shoulder, how it was a few moments ago, and then roll over onto the left edge of your body. Now you can keep your feet staggered here for support. You could bring your right leg on top of your left to stack your legs. Your right hand is in front of you for support. The more weight that rolls onto that back, that left arm, the more stretch you're going to get across the front of the left shoulder. If your head is more comfortable lifting up here, you can lift it up, you can rest it down. Then come all the way back down onto your front. Take your right arm and extend that all the way out to the right. Take your left hand in front of your face and then roll over onto the right arm. And again, you can stagger the feet if that's more comfortable, or you can stack left leg over right. And again, if the head lifts, the head can lift if that's better. Sometimes I get a little pull in my neck, so I lift the head. Sometimes it feels good to bring the head down. So it really depends on how you're feeling right now. And again, the more weight that you send back onto that right arm, the more sensation you're gonna get, the more stretch you're gonna get. So if it's too much, you back off and you bring some more weight forward. If it feels good, you can keep resting back on that right arm. Another breath. Then we'll come all the way back onto the front body. We're bringing the feet about hips distance apart. Bringing your hands now, let's bring the hands under the elbows. So you might have to bring your hands a little bit further back than you think. Hands are flat, hug the elbows in towards the body, tuck the toes under, and then lift yourself up. Sit your bum to your heels. Now we're gonna keep the toes tucked under, but bring your feet together. Then sit your bum back to your heels and extend your hands forward as you rest your forehead down. So kind of a funky child's pose variation here. So create length in the back of your neck. So we're not bringing the chin down and compressing in the back of the neck. We're not trying to get the head super close to the knees here. We're gonna lengthen along the torso, reach the arms away. Take another breath. And exhale it out. And then let's start to come forward. Bring your shoulders forward over your wrists, keeping your arms nice and straight. Bringing your hips forward, then lift your knees up and then lift your hips. And we're gonna press into our first downward facing dog. Now feet, let's say they start about hips distance apart as a general idea. And if you're tight in the back body today, go wider. Take your feet wider. Maybe you're tight in the back body every day. That's cool, go wider. And then look forward at your hands there for a moment. Spread your fingers wide and take your shoulders forward a little bit. Almost like you were gonna creep your shoulders over your wrists. Keep your bum high so you're not coming into a plank. You're just taking some weight forward. Then bend your knees and come up onto your toes. And then take your shoulders back and take your bum back. Like you were gonna try and touch your bum to the wall behind you and bring your chest towards your thighs. Let's do that again. So bring the shoulders forward a little bit. Again, keep the bum high. Arms nice and straight. Bend the knees, come to the toes, and then press it back, all the way back. You should get a big stretch in the hamstrings there. Let's do that one more time. Come forward, shoulders come forward over the wrists, come up onto the toes, bend the knees, and then press it back. Now, make sure that the fingers are spread. Push the front of your mat forward and then start to move into a pedal of the legs there. So one heel will sink down as the other leg straightens, and then we'll switch. And just a few times there, easing into the backs of the legs. And then let's come back to center and walk the feet forward to the hands. So we come to the front of the mat and we'll come to a forward fold. So same kind of idea applies here, where say we start with the feet about hips distance apart, maybe the back body's tight. We're gonna go further apart with the legs. Maybe you have a lot of space in your hamstrings today. Maybe you want to bring your feet even a little bit closer together, and that's okay too. Soften your knees, so let's not lock out the knees here. Relax the crown of the head down. Let the shoulders get heavy and drop down, arms heavy. Shift the weight forward into the fronts of the feet. Give the head a gentle shake out there, yes, no. And then inhale. Rise up halfway, lengthen, slide your hands up your shins, find a flat back. Roll the shoulders back, pull the chest forward. And then exhale, soften the knees and drop back down, fold again. And your soft knees might be really soft, quite bent, or they might be just a little bit soft, okay? Let's do that again. Inhale, rise up halfway, sliding the hands up the legs, rolling the shoulders back, pulling the chest forward. And then soften the knees and fold again, drop back down. And then with those soft knees, we'll inhale to rise all the way up to stand. Take your arms all the way up to the sky. Urdhva Hastasana, reach the arms to the sky. And then as you exhale, interlace your hands back behind your head and open your elbows out wide. Rest your head back into your hands. Root down through your legs. Engage your thighs, hug your kneecaps up towards your hips. And draw your low belly back into your body. Lift your chest. Take another breath. And then release your arms down by your sides. Tadasana. Take a big roll of the shoulders back in space. Turn your palms to face forward. Drop your shoulders down away from your ears. Root down through your feet. Now let's take a deep breath in. Reach your arms to the sky. Urdhva Hastasana. And then as you exhale, we'll fold forward. Come all the way down, Uttanasana. When you come down, again, soften the knees a little or a lot. So you can come back into your forward fold, dropping the crown of the head down. And then inhale. Rise up halfway, lengthening into your flat back, your straight legs, roll the shoulders back. And then as you exhale, let's bring the hands down next to the feet, on either side of the feet. Bend your knees so that you can get the hands down all the way. And then step your right foot to the back of the mat. We're gonna go for warrior one. So step your right foot over to the right, scooch the left foot to the left, put the right heel in and down. Then bend into the left knee. Now, both feet are flat on your mat. Push down through the bottoms of both feet. Sink nice and deep into that left knee so that your hips again are coming forward rather than your bum sticking up to the sky. Really active through that back leg. Then press down through your feet and we'll rise up to come up for our Virabhadrasana one warrior one. Now before you take your arms up, let's bring the hands onto the hips here. So not the waist up high by the navel, but hips. Okay, and then just a really subtle adjustment to turn the hips forward. So you feel the front of the right hip start to face forward towards the front of your mat. And your left bum moves back in space ever so slightly. It's not a twist. We're not turning out to the left, but we're turning forward towards the front of the mat. Again, sink a little bit deeper into that left knee. Remember how we're pressing down through the feet. Back leg is nice and straight and strong. Front knee is bent, knee over the ankle. Now, bring your right hand to your low belly. Bring your left hand, back of the left hand, to your low back. Feel these two spaces drawing towards each other. The low belly is drawing back in to create length in the low back, okay? So what would be the alternative here, right? So what if we did the opposite and we started to send the bum back a little bit and you feel your belly coming forward, coming down towards your left thigh, okay? So we're gonna keep the belly drawing back so that the pelvis is nice and level. Soften the front ribs back, shoulders down, take your arms up towards the sky. Turn the palms to face in towards each other. Sink a little bit deeper into that left knee and push a little bit stronger into the right knee. See how the shoulders feel. Can you bring the shoulders back a tiny bit further so you feel some more sensation, more of a stretch in the shoulders? Or are they coming forward because as soon as you bring them up, they want to bend? So we'll straighten the arms and they're either going to come out in front or they're going to go straight up. And let's take one more deep breath in this warrior one. And then exhale, release. Let's bring the hands all the way down and step forward back to the front of your mat. Now keep the feet kind of wide there, so maybe err on the side of a little bit wider than the hips. Take an inhale, rise up halfway, lengthen, pull the shoulders back, chest forward, and then fold. Soften the knees as much as you need and drop the crown of the head down. And then inhale, rise up all the way, take your arms to the sky, Urdhva Hastasana, lift the chest. And as you exhale, we're gonna go all the way back down, so fold. Inhale, rise up halfway, lengthen. And then as you exhale, bring your hands down. Now your feet are pretty wide here, right? So we can step the left foot straight back and then take that left heel in and down and bend into your right knee. So if you look at your feet, your right foot should be over close to the right edge of the mat and your left toes are probably touching the left edge of your mat. Then nice and deep into the right knee and then again, press down through the feet. So both feet are flat and we're pressing down. The left leg is super straight and strong and the right knee is bent. Breathe here. Then press down through your feet and we'll rise up, coming up into our warrior one legs. That gentle adjustment to turn that left hip forward towards the front of the mat without lifting that back heel. And the right bum draws back in space, just a tiny bit. And again, the pelvis, right? So one hand to the low belly, one hand to the low back, and we're drawing back so that the pelvis is nice and level there. And then arms to the sky. Shoulders down, arms are nice and straight. Again, maybe that means your arms are coming out a little bit in front of you, or a lot in front of you, or maybe the arms are straight up. And maybe you can bring the shoulders back a tiny bit more to get a little bit more stretch into the shoulders. Sink a little bit deeper into the right knee. Breathe. Another breath. And then bring your hands all the way down. And this time we're going to step back. So that right foot is going to step back. And we're going to wind up back in our down dog. So feet hips distance. Spread the fingers. Push the front of your mat forward. And if that doesn't make sense to you, go back to that when we were bringing the shoulders forward over the wrist so that you can feel a clear difference between when you bring your shoulders forward and when you take your shoulders back and the bum back. Now, from here, let's inhale to bring the hips and the shoulders forward so that we come into plank. So your shoulders come forward over your wrists, and you might need to scoot your feet back a little bit so that you can bring your hips forward, but not down. We're not dropping. There's no sagging of the hips here at all. Hug up. Think about hugging the fronts of the thighs up, the belly up. Now, bring your knees down. So you modify this plank. Still hard, but not as hard. Pull the shoulders back in your chest forward again. The chest moving in front of the shoulders. Hug the navel up, squeeze the thighs. Take a breath in. And then as you exhale, lower down in a straight line so that your chest and your belly and your thighs all touch down at once. Keep your hands where they are. Point your toes. Press down into the tops of the feet. Hug the elbows in. Squeeze the shoulder blades. And then we're going to start to lift up for cobra here. Now you can stay really low for your cobra here. So really just your chest is lifting. Or you can lift up higher so that the front of the rib cage lifts. Hug the elbows in. And then lower. Let's do that again. 2 more times. Cobra, inhale. Exhale, lower. And one more time. Inhale, cobra. And exhale, lower. Now tuck the toes. We're gonna lift, keep the knees down, press up, go back into that funky child's pose with your toes tucked. So bring your feet together. Sit the bum back to the heels, spread the fingers wide. Press into the hands to sit the bum back. Another breath. And then start to come forward as you bring your shoulders forward, hips forward into that modified plank. Again, you can separate your feet and then lift your knees and press it all the way back up into downward facing dog again. One more big breath, spread the fingers. And then walk your feet forward to your hands, and we're back in our Uttanasana at the front of the mat. Again, feet hips distance, or maybe a little wider, maybe a little closer, knees soft or knees very soft. Drop the crown of the head down. Inhale, rise up halfway, lengthen shoulders back. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise all the way up. Take your arms to the sky. And exhale, arms down by your sides. Tadasana. Okay, so let's take another inhale and reach your arms to the sky. Urdhva Hastasana. And as you exhale, fold Uttanasana, coming all the way down. And inhale, rise, halfway lengthening. And then as you exhale, your hands will come down again, and we're gonna go back into our warrior one. So the right foot's gonna go back over to the right side of the mat, take the right heel down, scooch the left foot to the left, bend into the left knee. Right leg is super straight, press down through the feet, left leg is bent, rise up, and come into your warrior one. So just hang for a moment and notice what we talked about last time and how that feels in your body, about the right hip turning forward a little bit, about the pelvis being nice and level so we're not dipping in the back body. Shoulders down, maybe the arms are coming forward a little bit. And take another breath here. Now straighten your left leg and let's start to come forward. Bring your chest forward. Take your hands onto your hips here for a moment. Now, the more you come forward, the more sensation you're going to get into the left hamstring. So you don't come super far here, and we're not going to go any further than the level of the hip. So we're not going to bring our chest any lower than the hip. So if you can go that low, stop there. Hands are on the hips again, and again, it's that same action of the chest coming forward, pressing down through the feet. Now this time, take the left hip back in space a little bit, chest still forward. Press, press, press down through the feet so the legs are active. Take one more breath. Then bend back into your left knee and come back up for your warrior one, arms to the sky. Inhale. And then as you exhale, bring your hands down and step forward, front to the mat. Feet are nice and wide this time, and we fold in our Uttanasana. Inhale, rise up halfway, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise all the way up, take your arms to the sky, Urdhva Hastasana, lifting the chest. And as you exhale, we're gonna go all the way back down, fold. Now again, feet are nice and wide on this side. So we're gonna bring the hands down, bend your knees as much as you need to for that to happen. Take your left foot back. So remember, left toes are probably touching the left edge of the mat there. That left heel goes in and down. The right knee bends over the right ankle. We're pushing through the feet, legs are active. Rise up and take your arms up to the sky for your warrior one. And again, just see what feels, see what you remember about what we've talked about. See what kind of comes to mind and you think, oh, right, okay, this is the thing that I'm gonna pay attention to here, right? Whether it's making sure that you're not dipping into your back body, maybe it's pulling the right hip back a little bit more, maybe the shoulders back, maybe it's pushing through the feet. Now, straighten the left leg, bring your hands to your hip points, And we start to come forward with the upper body. And that right hip pulls back in space. Chest forward, shoulders back. Breathe. Really pressing through the legs, pressing through the feet so the legs are active. Another breath. Then bend back into the right knee. Come back into your warrior one. Inhale, take your arms to the sky, reach up. And as you exhale, we bring the hands down. We go back into our downward facing dog. Step back. Spread the fingers. Bum back, shoulders back. And then inhale, come forward. Bring your shoulders forward over your wrists. And bring your knees down. Modified plank. Remember that hugging up action. So squeeze the thighs, hug the navel up. Pull the chest forward in front of the shoulders. Bend the elbows, hug the elbows in as you lower down. Get that chest down at the same time as the thighs. Point the toes, roll the shoulders back. Cobra, just one time. And then exhale, tuck the toes. Sit the bum back to the heels. Rest your forehead. And then shoulders forward again, coming back into the modified plank. Lift the knees, downward facing dog. Let's take a deep breath in. And then let it go. And then walk your feet to your hands. And we'll come to a forward fold, our Uttanasana again. Now, we're gonna bring the feet closer together this time. So bring your feet so that your big toes are touching. And this might mean, and will mean for a lot of us, that we need to bend our knees more than we have before. And that's fine, do that. Bend your knees a little bit more. If you're super happy with your legs straighter, not locking out the knees still and the feet together, you can do that as well, but otherwise, soften the knees. Relax the crown of the head down, shift the weight forward into the fronts of the feet. Inhale, rise up halfway, lengthening, shoulders back. Exhale, fold. And then inhale, rise all the way up, take your arms up to the sky, Urdhva Hastasana. And as you exhale, arms down by your sides. Tadasana. Now close your eyes here for a moment as you stand with your feet together, rooting down through your feet. Soften your shoulders, but draw the backs of your shoulders slightly back in space so you feel some activation between your shoulder blades. Slow the breath. And then bring your hands to your heart and blink your eyes open. Now, this one, if you are on the tighter side with your hamstrings and you have blocks, this will be a nice one for blocks. If you don't have blocks, don't worry, because we can just bend our knees. So hands are in your heart, thumbs are in your sternum. So we're gonna start by taking the weight into the left leg and take your right foot back behind you, but the toes are down, okay? So point your right toes. Most of your weight is in your left foot, your left leg, but you are supporting yourself probably a little bit. I know I am on the right toes, on that right foot, okay? Now keep your right foot where it is and start to bring your chest forward. You're gonna feel more weight now in your left leg. Now this is where I mean, if you need to bend your left knee, go for it. Just bend your left knee, don't worry about it. If it's straight, that's fine too. Now shoulders coming back, chest forward. Now lift that left leg back behind you. Try to lift the leg so that it's in line with the hip, with the right hip. Breathe. Take another breath. Now again, if you haven't bent your left knee yet, you might want to bend it now because we're going to bring the hands all the way down to the mat. Now your right leg is not going any higher than it is, okay? We're not going to lift it any higher than the hip. Flex your right foot so that the right toes are facing down. Press that right leg back behind you. Again, feel free to soften the left knee. This is a really big one, so feel free to soften. And then we're going to fold there. Relax the crown of the head down. Just 2 breaths here. I know it's big. Press back with the right leg. Another breath. Let it go. Now put the right foot down right next to the left so the toes are touching again, and go back into your forward fold with your feet together. So again, if you need to bend the knees a little bit more, go for it. Drop the crown of the head down. Inhale, rise up halfway, lengthen. Exhale, fold. And then inhale, rise all the way up, take your arms to the sky. And then arms down by your sides, Tadasana. And deep breath in. And exhale. Okay, then we'll take the weight into the right foot now, hands to the heart, pressing the palms together. So the weight is in the right leg, and we take the left toes back behind you. Remember, most of your weight is in the right leg, but you're probably supporting yourself with the left foot as well. Then come forward, starting to bring your chest forward. Then lift the left leg straight back behind you. Breathe. Really straight and strong with that left leg. Weight is in the right leg. Shoulders back, chest forward. Now, bring your hands down, and again, if you need to bend your right knee, go for it, bend it. Left leg is extending straight back behind you. Left toes are facing down. Really strong in the left leg. Breathe in, fold, drop the crown of the head down there. Breathe. One more breath. And then left foot down to the mat. Walk your feet nice and wide now so your feet are as wide as your mat. Take an inhale as you lift up halfway, rise, roll the shoulders back. And then exhale, fold. Drop the crown of the head down, grab onto opposite elbows, and take a sway. The whole upper body swaying side to side there. Shifting the weight forward into the fronts of the feet. Getting nice and long through the upper body, shoulders heavy, head heavy. And then relax your arms. Walk your feet back into about hips distance. We're gonna come down, bend your knees, and we're gonna sit the bum down. Bring your hands back behind you, and we'll sit. So legs extended out in front of you. Sit up nice and tall, and bring your hands behind your thighs. And then we'll start to lean back a little bit here, just enough that you start to feel your core muscles start to kick into gear a little bit there. And some of us will feel it more than others, and that's fine, but you'll feel something. And start to point your toes and walk your toes back in towards you, and then lift your feet so that your lower legs are parallel with your mat. Now again, chest is lifting, shoulders are back. Now hands are going to stay behind the thighs, and we're going to extend the right leg and then come back. Okay? And then the left leg and then come back. Okay? So let's do it with the breath. Inhale, right leg. Exhale. Inhale, left leg. Exhale. Let's just do it one more time. Inhale, right leg. Exhale. And inhale, left leg. And exhale. Now hold here. Bring your hands back behind you. And you can come to your elbows here, actually. That might be a little bit more comfortable. Bring your knees over your hips. Press down through your elbows, lift your chest. Now, bring your knees far enough away from you here that, again, you feel that awakening in your core muscles. Not exhaustion to the point of you're thinking, I can't do this for very long, but so that you feel the awakening, right? So if you bring your knees all the way in, you're not gonna feel it very much. If you take your legs super far away from you, you're gonna really feel it, okay? So knees just far away that you're like, okay, yeah, definitely engaging my core muscles there. And then we're gonna inhale, extend, and exhale, bend. 3 more like that. Inhale, and exhale. Press down through the elbows. Don't sink into the shoulders. Inhale, and exhale. We're just gonna do that one more time. Inhale, and exhale. Okay, put your feet down. We're still on the elbows here for another moment. And we're going to extend the left leg out to hover. So you're going to straighten the right leg, and it's going to hover over the mat there. So don't put it all the way down. Press down through your elbows, lift your chest, and then inhale, lift the right leg up, and then exhale, lower it back down to that hover. Now, can we really isolate this movement? Inhale, lift it up, and then exhale, lower it to the leg, right? So what that means is we're not moving the upper body around, we're not moving the left leg around to manipulate the right leg. Inhale and exhale, and we're just gonna do it one more time. Inhale and exhale. Then that right knee, put that right foot back down. Let's do the other side. So the left leg is gonna go out to hover, and then we inhale to lift, and we exhale to lower. And again, really isolating this movement, this slow and controlled movement to that left leg. Pressing through the elbows. Let's do it one more time. Inhale. And then exhale. All right. Bend both of your knees and scoot yourself down if you need to so that you can come onto your back. Let's bring the arms along the sides of the body. Bring the feet about hips distance apart, knees facing forward. Walk your heels back towards your bum there. They don't have to touch your bum, but rather than having the heels quite far away from your bum, we'll bring them on the closer side. Press down through the palms of the hands, and then lift the hips, pressing through the feet. Press down through your heels. And then slowly lower yourself all the way back down. Keep your knees bent. Bring your feet as wide as your mat. And let's let the knees drop over to the right. So your feet are as wide as your mat. Your knees drop to the right, and your knees aren't touching each other. So earlier in this practice, we took a twist and our knees were together, but this time our legs are separate. And you can take your hands into any arm variation, your arms into any arm variation by your sides, overhead, on your body, out wide. But sink that inner left thigh down towards the mat. Then bring your knees back to center and let them fall to the left. So again, the feet are nice and wide. And we're going to sink the inner right thigh down towards the mat. And then bring the knees back to center. Bring your right knee up into your chest and then your left knee up into your chest, and give your knees a good hug in and rock around a little bit there, side to side, and circle your knees around a little bit so you get a little massage sensation in your low back. And then come back into your Supta Baddha Konasana with the soles of the feet together and the knees out wide. Take your arms out into a big wide T shape, and then cross your right arm over your left arm and try to go for quite a deep cross there. So rather than crossing your lower arms, you want to cross as high up on your arms as possible. And then wrap your arms around you like you're giving yourself a hug. Well, you are giving yourself a hug. And squeeze in, keeping the head nice and relaxed there. Release your arms out wide again. And then cross the arms with the right arm under the left arm this time. Again, crossing nice and high up in the arms if you can. And then wrapping around, grabbing for the shoulder blades, the upper back, wherever you can really hold on and give yourself a nice big hug in. And then release your arms. And we're going to take the arms down by your sides, a bit wider than your body, turning your palms to face up. Release your legs so that your feet are pointing to the outer edges of your mat, and your legs can be a little bit wider than your hips there. If it's more comfortable to bend your knees, you can also bend your knees and begin, as we began, with the feet a little bit wider and the knees dropping towards each other, or maybe putting a pillow under the knees. And let your physical body settle here and come to a place of complete ease. A place without discomfort, without uncertainty. And then soften the space around your eyes and your mouth and your jaw. Release your shoulders back into your mat. And once again, listen. Listen to all of the sounds that are making your space, making your moment what it is. Listen without judgment, without question, without expectation, just listening to hear. How often do we just listen to hear? And begin to deepen your breath. And as you take your next deeper breath in, fill up. And then open your mouth and sigh out. And then take your arms overhead and reach long with your fingers and your toes. Take a big stretch. And then bend your knees and roll over onto your side. And when you're ready, find your way to your seat. Bring your hands to your heart and bow your head in gratitude. And in honor of this body, this life, this breath, this practice. Namaste.